Hi everybody and welcome to this time lapse. We've got these lovely geraniums, very high contrast, light and shadow. It's one of my favorite things in my art to capture is the story of the light and dramatic light. I just find it appealing to look at and fun to actually pastel, like a bit of a challenge. So I've changed a few aspects with regards to the reference when it came to actually what I chose to do on my painting. Very similar, but it's just more about positioning of the leaves really. But I guess I'll come to that. I'll talk more about that when I come to that. So as always, starting in with my background, and again, the color theme of this one is sticking to my yellow, yellow greens, greens, and blue greens. And then we've got white. So the darkest part of this painting on the back wall there is a very, very dark brown, which would be falling on the yellow scale. So keeping the color story going, I think is what adds such a beautiful harmony to the finished piece. And that's one of the things I loved about this image. I created the image using an AI bot called Midjourney. And so I'm working on pastel matte paper here. The size is about 32 centimeters by 28 centimeters. I'm working on the dark grey colour, no particular reason other than it was the next colour in my pad. Because I cover every inch of the paper, I'm not really concerned with what colour pastel matte I actually use. So I've got a bit of a cold, so I get the sensation that I'm going to cough, so excuse me, but I've got to crack on with things. I can't stop because I've got a cold. Okay, so in the background using like I said, my greens, blue greens, grayish greens, and yellow. Just making a start on the flowers. They're white, but instead of using white, I'm using loads of neutrals, and I'll only use white, pure white, for the absolute highlights. It's really important when pasteling white to use an array of colors. Look at your neutrals, bring out your little tans, your beiges, your greens. Like I said, I was pulling on a particular color theme, which was my yellows, yellow greens, blue greens. So even in my neutrals, I've got yellow toned grays in there. And brownish toned greys. So here the leaves, I made a little bit of a change because I wasn't totally keen on the leaves in the reference. I felt they were a little bit unbalanced. You've got one big main leaf there. I just wanted to bring a bit more balance, so I added a few more leaves overlapping the top of the vase. I also made another change in my piece in that I didn't want such a geometric shape of shadow, or light I should say, on the vase. I wanted to make that more subtle because there's a lot of drama already going on with that cast shadow onto the wall. So we've got a lot of, and with the shape of the window, we've got a lot of geometric shape going on. So I felt it was too much. So I initially put it in, which you can see me doing here, but I change it. It's too much. My eyes are feeling sore looking at it. So one way I wanted to bring down all the shapes and the contrasts is to get rid of the shape on the pot, which you'll see me do in a little bit. But I just wanted to say, really important in my style is I use my hands a lot to crush those pastel pigments into the paper. I like the look of a soft overall look to my work. I think it gives it a very oil painting like quality, which I really, really like. That's just my personal preference. But when creating the shadow, I'm also making sure that everything is very, very soft. The colors are mushing together. There's no hard lines except of the outlines of the actual shadow. but also in terms of the color of the shadow on the wall, I'm not using just one color. You can see there's different grayish greens as well as more browny tones in there. So it's not just one color, my shadow. My shadow has nuances in it, which I also think is really important. It just creates more of a liveliness. So with my greens, my leaves, my foliage, I always use, again, yellow-based greens with a few blue-based greens. But I find it's the yellow-based greens that make your foliage look more realistic. I think we don't realize just how much yellow there actually is in leaves and plants. Um, so yeah, I find look for your yellow greens that have a lot more yellow in them and browny tones. So I got rid of my shape, very easy peasy. I just smushed it away with my finger. Wonderful pastel matte and pastels. You can make corrections quite easily as long as you haven't filled the tooth of the paper. That's really important. If you've done that, you won't be able to get more layers on top. But then you can also spray a fixative, and then that will give you a few more layers. But yeah, pastel's very forgiving, mainly due to what surface you work on. So you can see I added a little bit of turquoise into the leaves, into the light of the leaves again, kind of bringing in the colors everywhere in the piece to create harmony. So I've got a bit of turquoise in the flowers themselves and in the vase. Then I've got a darker turquoise up on the wall. Again, sticking to the color family. This is one of my fun things to do, is creating pieces where the color families sit next to each other. Like I said, green, using yellow greens and blue greens. And yellow, but they all sit together, and it's called an analogous color scheme, which I love. So I felt like I needed to bring some more definition. So often, if you want to bring in definition, have a look at your darks. I'm darkening down on the left hand side there to give the bowl more of a more shape, so it doesn't look so flat. So this is coming to an end now. There's a few seconds left on here. But if you'd like to check this out in real time, I'll leave a link to my Patreon down below. But thank you for watching, and I shall see you again in the next one. Bye for now.